Um, so yesterday we did matching headings questions, I guess. So today let us try locating information question. And out of all the question types, I think locating information is the most time consuming question because there is no trick to find it. You have to really search everywhere to find the answer. What I mean by that will be clear if you look at this question here. Um, if you go to IELTS 13, page number 44. 44. IELTS 13, page 44. On that page, look at questions 14 to 17. Those four questions, 14 to 17. IELTS 13, page 44. Questions 14 to 17. These are called locating information questions. So, what we are supposed to do in these questions is, if you look at the text is divided into six parts from A to F. So each paragraph of the text is a part. So paragraphs have been labeled from A to F. And these four questions given to us, we have to find in which paragraph are they present. Like number 14, information is in which paragraph. So locating information in that. Locating in which paragraph do we find this information. Now think how difficult it is. We have to read the paragraphs. We read paragraph A and then see if any one of these four are in paragraph A. Then again read paragraph B, again see if any one of these four is in paragraph B. So it will take a lot of time to find the answers. Because there are six paragraphs, there are only four questions, means some paragraphs don't have any information. But still you have to read the paragraph. Maybe paragraph A is not the answer. But how would you know that? You have to read the entire paragraph to see if any of these four things are mentioned there or not. If it is mentioned, then let's say if 14 is mentioned, then 14's answer would be A. But if it is not mentioned, then you have to read the next paragraph. You have to keep on doing that till the end. So it is like matching heading that we did yesterday. But in matching heading, at least the first, second, last sentence gave us the answer. But here, any sentence in the paragraph could be the answer. The first, second, third, fourth, any of them could be the answer. So there is no trick or no shortcut to find it. So you have to read them. But one way that you can save your time in the exam is these kinds of questions always are the first questions in any set. Like you can see in this question, this is the first question here. Then there is matching and fill in the blanks question. They always come first. In my opinion, if you get this question in the exam, read these four questions, but don't do those four questions first. Read them, understand them, remember them, but don't do them. Do the other questions because sometimes while searching for these answers, you might find these answers because the question is in which paragraph is this answer. So when you are doing fill in the blanks, you might find that paragraph which has this answer. Or when you are doing matching questions, when you are doing matching, at that time you might find these answers. So read them first, circle or underline the main words of each question, and then when you search for other answers, you might find them. That is the way that you can save your time. The second thing is you have to know what you are searching for. And I say that for all kinds of questions because most of the times we are not sure what we are searching for, and that might lead us to the wrong answer. You have to know what you are searching for. So let's try this and let me tell you what I mean by you have to know what you are searching for. So the text is about oxytocin. It says here it is a hormone in our body called oxytocin. Let me read the four questions for you and let me tell you what we are searching for. Number 14, reference to research showing the beneficial effects of oxytocin on people. Now, what does it mean? Reference to research. You have to know this thing because sometimes even when we read the line which had the answer, we don't realize that was the answer. Sometimes that happens. I don't know if it has happened to you or not. Like you read the line which had the answer, but you don't realize it was the answer. It might happen sometimes. What does it mean when we say reference to research? You have to think about that. You have to know how research is referenced. First of all, when we reference a research, if a question like this is given to you, research must be referenced by the researcher who did the research. So you have to see that thing, the name of the person maybe. Then, where was the research done? The place name, or the university or any lab, the name of the place where the research was done, and the date, in which date was the research done. So these things have to be mentioned to refer to a research. So when you are searching, always keep that in mind. If I see a name of a person, and next to the name, if there's a place name, and if there is a date also, then maybe there is where the answer is. And the remaining part, beneficial effects of oxytocin. So benefits, whatever benefits are given, sometimes what happens is we might find benefits in a paragraph, but research may not be mentioned in the paragraph. We might find research in a paragraph, but benefits may not be mentioned in the paragraph. So the same paragraph which gives us benefits should also give us the name of the researchers, the place and the date of the research. That is what we are searching for number 14. Number 15, reasons why the effects of oxytocin are complex. So we know oxytocin is complex, but why? A paragraph which gives us the reasons for it. And reasons are usually given like this is because, or this is due to the fact that, or these are the reasons for it, or vocabulary like that. Number 16, mention of a period in which oxytocin attracted little scientific attention. Little means very less. So scientists did not pay attention to this hormone called oxytocin, and it says reference to a period, a time period. Now, can you give me some names of time periods? How do we say time period? Like, what would be a time period? Like, I mean, it says reference to a mention of a period, like it may be 10 minutes time period, 1 hour, 1 decade, 1 month, 5 years, maybe 20 days, a time period like that. You are searching for, you have to keep that in mind. You're searching for something like that. Decade, it could be century as well. So, a time period that is mentioned in the text. And the last one, reference to people ignoring certain aspects of the research data. Again, ignoring research. You have to find research somewhere, like I told you earlier about research. You have to find that, and you have to also find about ignoring the research. So these are the 4 questions. If it was the real IELTS test, I would have recommended you like read these 4 questions. Now don't do them. Do these questions now, because sometimes when we search for this answer, you might find a time period, you might find a date, and then there is where the answer is. The trick is to remember the things as well. Short-term memory is very important for IELTS. Anyway, let's read the text one by one. Now, I don't know if you follow this style of reading, but one style of reading is called word spotting, and it might be easy to save time if you do that. Like what I mean by is, like, look at the first paragraph, like reading like this: oxytocin chemical produced gland brain studies. It says studies here. Animals, scientists aware, influence, discovered, help, bonds, males, mate, triggers, motherly behavior, released by women, strengthening the attachment between mother. You can see the benefits of oxytocin, I guess. Strengthening the attachment between mother and baby. I guess that is the benefit of oxytocin. But research is not mentioned in this paragraph. Chemicals, positive reputation, love hormone, sniff, claimed, person, trusting, empathetic, generous, cooperative. Again, this paragraph gives us a lot of benefits of oxytocin. It says we become generous, cooperative, all of the positives as well. But the thing is, number 14, if you look at number 14, the research is not referenced here. The benefits are given, but research is not referenced. So, out of these 4 questions, I don't think any of them are in the first paragraph. Like number 15, the reasons is also not given. Number 16, a period is also not mentioned. Number 17, ignoring also not mentioned. So, none of those are in the first paragraph. Maybe paragraph B now, paragraph B. Oxytocin, human behavior 2005, date is given. Experiment, Marcus Heinrichs, person is also given. University of Freiburg, Germany is also given. Research is mentioned here. Now let's see if benefits are mentioned or not mentioned. Asked, volunteers, invest money, anonymous person, guaranteed to be honest, Participants beforehand invested more money. Start of a research in toxicology of human. Okay, here it says for 8 years. You see, for 8 years, a time period is given. For 8 years, it was quite a lonesome field. Heinrich recalls. What does it mean? For 8 years, it was a lonesome field. Means it was a lonely field. This Marcus Heinrichs, who did research on this subject of oxytocin for 8 years, he did it alone because other people did not do research in this field. Doesn't that mean what number 16 is saying? Mention of a period in which oxytocin attracted little scientific attention. Because for 8 years, that period, it was lonesome. Means he was the only person doing the research. Nobody else did the research. So it was lonely field. For 8 years, scientists did not pay attention to this field. So maybe for number 16, B is the answer. Unless we read something else in the next paragraph which is better than this, but for now, I guess for number 16, B would be the answer. Now that doesn't mean paragraph B is over. In the same paragraph B, other things can also be mentioned. Like number 14 can also be in paragraph B because research is mentioned there. Let us see if any benefits are mentioned. Okay, do you see in the same paragraph it says people become more charitable, better at reading emotions on others' faces, and at communicating constructively in arguments. Aren't these benefits of oxytocin? So benefits are also mentioned in the same paragraph. So number 14 is also in same paragraph B. So 14 and 16 both answer is B because both of them are in the same paragraph. That could happen in questions like these. Some paragraphs have no answer, some paragraphs have multiple answers. It could happen. Now there are only two questions remaining, and it is always useful to remind yourself of the questions before you search for what you are searching. Number 15 and number 17 are remaining. 15, effects of oxytocin are complex and the reasons, like reasons why they are complex. And number 17, people ignoring research data. They did research, they found something, they ignored that. Okay, let us keep on reading. Paragraph C. Few years contrasting Simone, Same, Suri, Haifa, Israel, game, hormone, pleasure when they beat other players, envy, sharply contrasting outcomes. Mount Sinai School of Medicine improves people's ability to read emotions, but only if they are not very socially adept to begin with. Reduces cooperation in subjects. So this paragraph C has one benefit mentioned there that it improves people's ability to read emotions, but also says it reduces cooperation. It says negative effects as well. So I don't think that number 14 is paragraph C because paragraph B talks about benefits. Paragraph C also talks about demerits of the hormone. So maybe C doesn't have the answers. Let's see paragraph D. Effects vary. Caroline de Klerk, University of Antwerp, Belgium, received a dose of oxytocin. Less cooperative with complete strangers. Karsten de Drew, Amsterdam, Netherlands, showed favoritism. Dutchmen became quicker to associate positive words with Dutch names. Oxytocin drives people to care for those in social circles. So this paragraph gives us negative effects of oxytocin because showing favoritism or in the second last line, biases, they are not good things. Favoritism or bias means you only like people who you know. You hate other people that you don't know. So that is not a good thing to do. Hating strangers and only liking the people that you like. So number paragraph D is only giving us negative effects. So that is not the answer. Paragraph E maybe. Subtleties from the start. Bars shown in fact research. Okay, so here in paragraph E, look at the third line. Where once researchers took no notice of such findings. Do you see that line? Researchers took no notice of such findings. Means they found something, but they did not notice what they found. So that is what it means by ignoring. Number 17. Reference to people ignoring certain aspects of the research data. So they were ignoring whatever they found in the research. So 17 must be E. Now again, 15 can also be in E. So let's keep on reading the same paragraph. Propelling investigations, bards understanding hormone, pinpointing, cataloging, several hypotheses which are not mutually exclusive could help reduce anxiety and fear, motivate people to seek out social connection, social clues, a shift in posture, a flicker of the eyes, a dip in the voice, why it makes us more likely to look others in the eye, but it also made things worse for people. So this paragraph E talks about a lot of effects of oxytocin, like it gives you all of those things in your body, but doesn't give us any reason like why are the effects so complex. Paragraph E talks about complex effects. If you read from top to bottom, you will see so many effects of oxytocin. It makes your voice something, it makes your eyes something, it makes your posture something, it all gives you effects, but doesn't give us reason why does it do that. Now only paragraph F is remaining, so it should have the answer unless we missed something earlier. So let's make sure in paragraph F. Perhaps we should not be surprised. Perplexing. Perplexing means complex, so maybe answer is here. Octopuses to sheep, billion years. It's a very simple and ancient molecule. Okay, so here in paragraph E, let me read that line for you. After the word USA, do you see this line? It affects primitive parts of the brain, like the amygdala, so it's going to have many effects on just about everything. Do you see that line? So what does it mean? Do you know different brain parts like amygdala, cerebellum, medulla oblongata, pituitary glands? In our brain, there are different parts. During our evolution, when we evolved from primitive animals to human beings, some parts of our brain developed early and some parts developed later. Amygdala is an old part of our brain which developed very early in the history of evolution. So it affects the amygdala, means the inner part of the brain, the main part of the brain, it affects that part of the brain. So when that part is affected, everything is affected because of that. Just like in a building, if you shake the bottom, the top will also shake. So when you affect the amygdala, everything is going to be affected because of that. So that is what happens when we take oxytocin. So effect is everywhere of oxytocin. The reason is that, and the next line also explains that oxytocin probably does some very basic things. So oxytocin itself doesn't do everything. It does basic things, some simple things. But imagine amygdala is the root of our brain. It affects the amygdala. So what happens is, but once you add our higher order thinking and social situations, these basic processes could manifest in different ways. So this process, when the amygdala is affected, everything is affected above amygdala as well. So the same chemical affects in different ways. That is the reason why it is complex. So the sometimes when you take the chemical, you become cooperative. Sometimes you become less cooperative because it affects the root. Now it depends on what is above that root. So the effect is different because of that. That is why I guess number 15 would be in paragraph F because the reason is given. Why is the effect so complex of amygdala? It is similar to like taking alcohol. The same alcohol, if people take alcohols, not everybody has the same effect. Some people start dancing, some people start crying when you take alcohol. So because it affects the primitive part of the brain, and that part depends, the effect of that part depends on other things as well. So it is just like that. So that is what we do. I know it is very time consuming question. You have to read each paragraph one by one to find the answer. But if you know what you are searching for, then you can spot that thing like I did in the class, just reading the words, spotting the words. Because we know what we are searching for. Sometimes what happens is if we don't think that, like if we don't think what we are searching for, in that case you have to read every line to see if you find what the question is asking. But if you already know, like I am searching for a name, I am searching for a date, I am searching for a place, then you can spot that in the text, which might make it easier to find the answer.